Welcome back to Glasp Deep Dive. I'm Hope, here with Adam, and today's topic has a genuine marketing problem. It's the study method that beats everything else researchers have tested, and almost nobody uses it because it feels awful while you're doing it.
That's the whole paradox in one line. The method that feels the worst works the best, and the methods that feel productive mostly don't.
Active recall. And full confession before we start, I am a rereader. I read a chapter, I read it again, everything feels familiar. I feel prepared. So you're going to have to convince me that feeling is a lie.
It is, and a well-documented one. Here's the rule for the episode. If your studying feels smooth, that's not a good sign. That's the warning sign.
Okay, give me the clean definition first, because people throw this term around. What exactly is active recall?
It's pulling information out of your brain instead of pushing it back in. Close the notes. Ask yourself what you just learned. Answer without looking. Psychologists call it retrieval practice, or the testing effect.
And rereading, rewatching the lecture, reviewing my highlights, that's all pushing it back in. So why does rereading feel so convincing while I'm doing it?
Because it produces recognition, and recognition masquerades as knowledge. But you can recognize a face you couldn't describe to a sketch artist. Recognizing is not recalling.
So when my notes feel familiar, I'm recognizing the page, not holding the content. And active recall exposes that gap between what I think I know and what I can actually produce.
Which is uncomfortable. And it's also the entire point. The gap was always there. Recall just makes it visible, while you can still fix it.
You keep saying the research is lopsided. So how deep does the evidence actually go? Because most study advice feels like fad territory.
A century deep. 1917, a psychologist named Arthur Gates showed that students who spent part of their study time reciting from memory beat students who spent all of it reading.
1917. We've known for over 100 years, and we're all still rereading. Give me the modern headline study.
That's Roediger and Karpicke. One group read a passage 4 times. The other read it once, then did 3 rounds of writing down what they remember.
Let me guess. 5 minutes later, the 4-time readers looked better, and everyone walked away thinking, rereading works.
Slightly better. But 1 week later, the Retrieval group remembered 80% more material. Short-term passive review wins. Long-term recall wins. And the gap is enormous.
And this isn't one quirky result from one lab in one decade. You're telling me this replicates
Hundreds of times across ages, subjects, and test formats. The testing effect researchers even beat concept mapping with it. It's one of the most replicated findings in psychology.
So here's the real mystery. If the evidence is that strong, why does everyone, me included, do the opposite?
There was a major review of 10 popular study techniques. Practice testing rated high, rereading and passive highlighting rated low. Then researchers surveyed college students, and 84% named rereading as their main strategy. 11% self-tested.
84 versus 11. And honestly, I get it. Rereading feels productive in the moment. The familiarity reads as mastery. So we pick what feels good over what works. There's a name for this, right?
The illusion of competence. Your brain grades the study session by how smooth it felt, and smoothness is exactly the wrong metric.
All right, mechanism time. Why does pulling something out of memory make it stick better than putting it in again? Because that's genuinely not obvious.
Start with a researcher named Bjork, who splits memory into storage strength, how well something is encoded, and retrieval strength, how easily you can reach it. Rereading polishes storage. Recall exercises retrieval pathways, and those are what fade.
Which explains the exam day nightmare. The information is in there somewhere. You just can't reach it under pressure because you never practiced the reaching.
Exactly. Then there's Bjork's other idea, desirable difficulty. When retrieval is hard, the effort tells your brain, this matters, keep it. And rebuilding an answer activates related concepts around it, so the knowledge comes back more connected.
Okay, here's my real objection though. Sometimes I try to recall something and fail completely. Blank page, nothing. That has to be wasted effort.
It's maybe the wildest finding in the literature. Even failed retrieval attempts improve later learning of the correct answer, compared to just studying it fresh. The attempt primes the memory, and the failure maps your gaps. No losing move except not trying.
Let's talk about the enemy then. Forgetting. There's a famous curve here, going back to Ebbinghaus in the 1880s, and it's brutal. Without intervention, most of what you learn is gone within days.
And the punchline is the curve isn't fixed. Every successful retrieval flattens it. The memory gets more resistant to forgetting each time you pull it out.
Give me the numbers, because this is the part that actually got me.
With no retrieval, you keep roughly 10% at 3 months. 3 well-timed retrieval sessions take that to about 50%. 5 times the retention from 3 short sessions.
10 to 50. And the catch is timing. You have to retrieve before the memory fully decays, or you're basically relearning from scratch. Okay, hold that thought, because first I want the techniques. I'm starting tonight.
Then start with blurting. Finish a chapter, close the book, and dump everything you remember onto a blank page. No organizing, no neatness. Then open the book and compare.
And the stuff I missed becomes the study list. The failure is literally the output. What's number 2?
Writing your own questions. Instead of highlighting that the Bastille fell in 1789, you write, what event kicked off the French Revolution, and when? Asking is half the learning. Answering later is the other half.
Then flashcards, which everyone already knows about, and which apparently almost everyone uses wrong.
Mostly wrong, yes. 1 concept per card, and don't flip early. Struggle for 10 or 15 seconds before checking, because the struggle is the rep. Flip instantly, and you're rereading with extra steps.
Rereading with extra steps? I feel seen. Okay, round out the 6 for me.
The Feynman technique. Explain the concept in plain language, as if to a beginner, and every spot where the explanation breaks is a gap. For math or code, attempt problems before peeking at solutions, and teach someone for real.
There's a great finding on teaching, too. Students who merely expected to teach the material later learned it better than students who expected a test. Just organizing for output changes how you encode from the start.
Which tells you how shallow normal studying is. Now, can I unhold your timing thought? Spacing is the multiplier on all 6 of those.
Go. Recall is how. Spacing is when, right? Give me the classic schedule.
It expands. Review a day later, then 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, a month, and each success stretches the next interval. And the payoff is huge. Spaced retrieval produced nearly double the long-term retention of massing the same attempts together.
Now the awkward beat. That big review rated highlighting near the bottom, and this show is made by a highlighting company. So go ahead, defend your honor.
The rating is right, for passive highlighting. Painting whole pages yellow does nothing. But marking only the most important 10 or 15% forces a judgment on every paragraph. Is this a key idea, or just supporting detail? That judgment is active processing.
I'll grant the judgment part, but the highlight alone still doesn't make me remember anything. It's step 1 of something.
Step 1 of 2. The power is the review. Read the highlight, cover it, reconstruct the argument from memory, then uncover and check. Every highlight becomes a tiny recall exercise.
So the highlight isn't the studying. It's the cue library you build while you read, and the actual testing happens later.
Which brings us to tools. And full disclosure, Glasp makes the show. So the honest part first. You don't need software. A closed book and a blank page work fine. And that's the research talking, not modesty.
But say someone already reads and highlights on the web all day. What does the tool actually change for them?
Glasp keeps every highlight in one reviewable place, so the cue library builds itself as you read. And the community feed adds an odd retrieval trigger. Someone highlighted a different passage in the same article, and you wonder, what did they see that I missed? Answering that is recall.
And the AI chat can turn your highlights into self-test questions, which closes the loop. You mark what matters while reading. It quizzes you later. Now, the limits. Be honest.
2 real ones. No tool can make retrieval effortful for you. You still have to sit in the discomfort. And for pure flashcard scheduling, Anki is the gold standard. The technique matters more than the technology.
Quick questions before we close. The ones everyone asks. First, how long should a session actually be?
15 to 25 minutes, and shorter, more frequent sessions beat marathons. Even 10 minutes works, if the recall attempts are genuinely effortful.
Does it work for every subject, though? Or just memorize the dates material, like history and anatomy?
Every subject tested. The format just changes. Flashcards for facts, the Feynman technique for concepts, practice problems for procedures like math or programming.
Last one, and it's the one I personally needed. How do I know I'm actually doing this right?
If it feels easy, you're not. You should keep hitting questions you can't answer, and topics you thought you knew but can't explain. The discomfort is not a sign it's failing. The discomfort is the learning.
That's the sentence to take from this episode. So here's my one change tonight. When I finish reading something, I close it and spend 2 minutes writing down what I remember. That's the entire habit.
No app, no overhaul, 2 uncomfortable minutes. And the scoreboard changes. Learning isn't measured by what you consumed. It's measured by what you can retrieve when you need it.
Want to go deeper? Full articles on glasp.co. Just search Active Recall.
See you in the next deep dive.